Absolutely, which is an even more scary statistic to hear that and think that we could be avoiding these shootings. I know much of Portland would agree they would love for that to happen. Now, the Portland Police Association says that it's because of the defunding of police that we've seen over these last 2 years that we're in the spot that we're in right now. But now they say they have a plan to fix it.
I'm always hearing gunshots at night. I leave my window open in the evening, and gunshots constantly and sirens, and it's just really scary.
These feelings are shared far and wide in Portland.
I can't go to bed and feel safe.
Just this weekend, a man killed, another injured, and in Southeast, 2 more shootings. And while no one was hurt, someone's home was hit, showing the risk to everyone. Police have been transparent. They can't keep up. Short-staffed and struggling to hire as funding has been cut these past 2 years. But now the Portland Police Association, the union that represents Portland officers, say they have a plan that could fix the safety problems in Portland. First and foremost, Daryl Turner, the president of the PPA, says we need to hire.
We have quality police officers in the neighborhoods being able to not only proactively police, but proactively implement community policing.
He says we are short at the very least 600 officers in the city. Likely more, he says, to keep up with the population growth in our area.
That's a catastrophic failure right there.
In order to do that, Turner says the messaging from the city needs to change.
We have to bring in new people, qualified applicants, to bring them in from all over the country and be able to say, this is a place you want to work.
He says the community and leaders need to vocalize faith in the Bureau and back it up with funding. So no doubt Turner says that this is a big plan and something for the city to take on, but he says it can change and we can get to the spot that we need to. He says, though, of course, a lot of those changes need to come from the Bureau itself as well as the city. So he is hoping that the Bureau comes up with their own plan as well. Now, coming up, he also says another big missing piece, especially when it comes to all of these shootings, is proactive policing.
Friday, the city shared a budget update that shows the city has a budget surplus of more than $60 million, most of that from business taxes that were higher than expected. The city council can redirect about half of that back into city bureaus.
How will city leaders spend the more than $30 million? That's a debate city leaders will have in the coming weeks and months. The Portland Police Association says it's been pushing city leaders to expand the police bureau. PPA Executive Director Daryl Turner says this budget news changes things.
It's even more important that this gets done.
The police bureau was set to cut 44 positions this month to save money. Turner says the city needs to hire hundreds of new officers over the next 5 years to implement proper community policing and keep Portland safe.
It's because people are dying in the streets. People are being shot in the streets. Violent crime is increasing, and it's directly related to the staffing issues of the police bureau. It's directly related to the budget cuts that our elected officials made in 2020 and 2021.
The police union also wants the city to rehire 100 retired officers in the next 2 years. The Retire Rehire program is the quickest way to get officers on the street. It will come down to at least 3 city council members granting the police chief permission and money to do it. The mayor supports it. Commissioner Mingus Mapps supports it. The only other vocal city commissioner, Joanne Hardesty, does not.
We are attempting to transform Portland Police Bureau's culture, bringing back retirees who actually created the dysfunctional culture that we have is inconsistent with where we're moving to.
The first time the City Commission will discuss this budget surplus is at a meeting on October 19th. Catherine, if they decide to spend this money right now, they will do so by the end of the month.
Before the fire was even out, people were reaching out to business owners, asking them what they could do to help them during this time. If you take a look, you can see that there is still a lot of cleanup. The businesses have been completely boarded up, and there is a fence around the building at this time. And so while owners are figuring out their next steps, they're getting some help from longtime customers and even complete strangers. The corner of Southeast Hawthorne and 13th Avenue is a shell of what it used to be after a fire and smoke explosion tore through the building Tuesday afternoon.
I guess you'd say it stuns you. It stuns a person. to have that.
Nancy Chapin is part of the Hawthorne Boulevard Business Association. After seeing the damage left behind, she started a GoFundMe page for the owner of Riyadh's Lebanese restaurant, who lost everything in the fire, allowing people to give back to a business that gave customers more than just delicious food.
When I said, what do you want me to name it? Thanks for the memories. and he wrote back and said, that's perfect.
In just a few days, the GoFundMe page has brought in more than $8,000. While the page is off to a promising start, the fundraiser for the vintage store Really Good Stuff has already exceeded their goal.
The response was immediate and really overwhelming and gratifying, and the people of Portland are just amazing.
Evan Chalaise is the owner of Really Good Stuff. He's been in this location for decades. While the majority of the things in the store were his, a good portion belonged to other workers who shared the space.
They lost everything, and I was just beside myself, thinking, well, I felt responsible, even though it wasn't my fault, but, they trusted me with their whole livelihoods, and suddenly it was gone.
The donations for their fundraiser will help those impacted recoup some of their losses while their next steps are taken. But for Chalaise, each dollar that comes in is more than just financial help.
Nice to know that support is out there. I don't know when or how, but we're not done. We're down, but we're not out.
And while these fundraisers are showing the best of Portland and the best of the community, the owners have told us that they have actually gotten several reports about people looting here at the business. You can see now that there are boards up over all of the doors and windows, but we've been told that people have been getting in. It's a little frustrating for owners who say they haven't been able to see the whole scope of the damage just yet. Ever since the pandemic began, it was common practice in order to give blood to make an appointment online so that you could let people know that you were coming and they could prepare for you. So this is the case at Bloodworks Northwest, but it's also the case right here at the American Red Cross. However, according to Bloodworks Northwest, they say this week they're getting an alarming rate of cancellations and appointments. Already, very few people are coming in to donate blood. But Bloodworks Northwest says in the last week alone, more than 1,000 people canceled their appointments. Because of the last-minute cancellations, they're unable to fill those spots. Another issue they're facing? Staffing. With fewer blood collection specialists available and fewer appointments being filled, Vicki Finson with Bloodworks Northwest is worried that hospitals simply won't be able to help people in need much longer.
One of my largest concerns is that we're entering the period now where the hospitals are gearing back up because they have less COVID patients here in the Pacific Northwest. And therefore, I anticipate that transfusion needs will go up. And then we are very much going to be short.
This isn't just an issue in the Pacific Northwest. Finson says it's an issue all across the country, so blood banks in other states aren't able to help each other out like they usually can. Now, there is good news. In order to help this shortage, the best thing you can do is make an appointment to give blood. And again, you can do that through Bloodworks Northwest. You can visit their website and make an appointment there at any of the pop-up locations that they have across the area. You can also visit the American Red Cross, and they'll let you know where you can donate as well.